Your ORCiD is your research identity, and linking it to SciX means your work and your impact stays connected. Whether you're claiming past papers or making sure your latest project is discoverable, this module shows how to bring your ORCiD and SciX together. Let's jump in. So if you don't yet have an ORCiD, it's a pretty good idea to get one. It just means that you can keep track and claim ownership of all of the papers, patents, and any other outputs and publications that are yours within the research ecosystem. So you can sign up for free at ORCID.org, and that persistent identifier will stay with you regardless of whether you change your name through marriage or transitioning, whether you change institutions, or anything else that may take you on your research adventure. So once you have done that, when you are in Science Explorer, you can start to use ORCiDs in a range of different ways. So one way that you can use ORCiD is to verify that your particular author that you're looking at is the author of all of the papers that you want to read. So I'm going to use our PI, Alberto, as an example here. So if I search for him by author, this is a pretty solid bet that this is our Alberto because it's about ADS. And you can see here that Alberto's ORCiD ID is listed here. So if I click on this, this is doing a search within Science Explorer by ORCiD ID. So that persistent identifier that is associated with Alberto's research profile is giving us all of the papers that are therefore affiliated with him. It may not be completely inclusive. I mean, it's 264 papers, so it seems fairly inclusive and is making us all feel very, very lazy. But there may be some papers that perhaps were published before ORCiD was as well established. And so it could be that Alberto could go through and encounter papers that he hasn't yet associated with his ORCiD ID. Now, while this is something that you can do within the ORCiD ecosystem at ORCID.org, Science Explorer and ORCiD work together within the SciX platform, so you're actually able to claim your papers through the platform itself. So once you have created your own ORCiD ID, you're able to log into ORCiD within Science Explorer, and it's from here that you can then choose to toggle ORCiD mode on or off. And it does then mean that when you have ORCiD mode toggled on, you're able to claim or unclaim papers within here. So perhaps something has been attributed to you and you want to then make sure that that's not a paper that you are associated with or affiliated with, you can determine that through here. So for example, if I then go to my ORCiD page, I'm just a chemist, so there are a bunch of papers that are associated with my ORCiD ID that are not within Science Explorer, so it will denote that here. If they are within SciX, then this will say that they are within Science Explorer. But perhaps one thing that I might then want to do is search for other papers that might be associated with some work that I have done. So let's search for photocatalysis, for example. I'm going to actually field that a little bit so that it is just title, abstract, and keyword search that we're looking at. And I can see here that I get a bunch of results that may or may not be associated with work that I have done. And what I can do is, if I find that one of these actually is my paper, let's say this heterogeneous photocatalysis, I can click on this ORCiD claim button and I can make that my own. Now, obviously this is not mine, so I'm going to very quickly delete that claim immediately, but this is one way that you can use the ORCiD system and Science Explorer to make sure that you have ownership of the papers that are yours, and also search for other people's papers, knowing for sure that they are the author of those papers. And using this, you can better track impact and start to better understand how your work is being used by other people in the research ecosystem.